One thing you want to avoid doing is you want to avoid using small pieces and putting them through the table saw. You can put yourself in a very dangerous situation. So rather than take pieces like this, you're probably best to take a larger piece like this one here, and you cut it into strips. You want to make sure that the piece is longer than the width of your blade, okay? And you want to make sure that it's not too narrow. If it's too narrow, what can happen is you can have a little tiny sliver come out and it'll bind in the saw and it'll come shooting back at you, which you don't want to put yourself in that situation. One thing you have to make sure that your blade is not loose. You can check the nut physically. If when you turn any saw on, whether it's this, whether it's a circular saw, whether it's a sliding compound miter or miter saw, if you notice there's a wobble in the blade, shut it off right away. More than likely the nut's backed off and it could come loose on you. Another thing you have to worry about at the blades is you want to make sure that they're not damaged. So you check the teeth, make sure they're not chipped or anything. And if they're starting to get dull, or they are dull, change them out. It takes a lot more pressure to push something through when the blade is dull. You're not going to get quite as smooth a finish on it. Right here I have a twisted board. Okay. You do not want to run this through the table saw. If you do, it'll probably bind and come screaming back at you. Easiest way and the safest way to do it if you want to salvage the piece is to draw a straight line down it, take it to the bandsaw, and put it through the bandsaw, cut as close to the line as you can, and then take it to the joiner. If it's too severe, then just throw it out as scrap. Another thing that you want to worry about is you're going to worry about the cup in the piece. If I lay it flat on the table here, you're going to see that it has a crown that's like this. If you're going to cut this piece, I wouldn't cut this particular one because it's actually too short, but it has a good profile of what the cup is. It sits in this position. If I push it through, let's say down the center of this piece, what will happen is it'll just come down and it'll ease down onto the blade and it'll cut nice and smooth. If I turn it over and have it up in the air so it's like this, and I try to put it, you can see it's wobbly. What's going to happen is it's going to bind on you and it's probably going to come flying back at you on a kickback. You want to avoid these situations.